Hi, hey, hello everybody. How's it going? Welcome back to Fizzcraft. SlySaysHi here. It is episode 13. Welcome in. First, I'd like to say thank you guys very much for 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube, mostly from YouTube Shorts, from what I've seen. And for those who are tuning in to the long form content, as you would be, obviously, thank you for checking out the long form stuff. I really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get started with the rest of the video. First, I'd like to show you guys some things I've updated off camera, and then we'll get into what we'll be doing on camera, as usual. So first, off camera, I have updated this nice area. I have added a lot of trees. I know before I did a whole entire episode dedicated to just doing the trees, and I thought to myself, you know what? I don't need a whole another episode to how I did these trees. I think you guys get the idea. We added this tree, that tree over there, that little tree guy over there, and then this whole nature area, along with this nice rock. And rocks. I did some of this on stream, but I did most of it off stream. You know, it's very meditative, making these nature patches. Well, custom biome, I guess, would be the Minecraft terminology. But yeah, so we had like one over there, and I've added a section over here now. This took like the better of 10 hours, maybe like between 8 and 10 hours. Which honestly is like way too long for me to be spending on any one thing that I'm not going to be making content on. Which is a little concerning. We need more. Wait, this is not all of it, right? This is we also need a section over here. Eventually, this whole section needs to be naturified. A little spoilers: we are going to naturify most of the edges of the industrial district as well at some point. Again, this takes so long to do. Like, it took over the course of 3 days. A couple hours each day of chipping away at it, and maybe I'm just a slow builder, but that's I don't know how to fix that. I don't know if I like made up a rule or I forgot sandstone existed or what, or maybe it's both, really. But previously, these used to be birch slabs, okay? So if I were to show you, they used to be like this, okay? And that's how I made a little gradient in like the blocks. And when I was putting together the area back here on the other side of the ship, I thought to myself, oh, why do I use birch here for the sand? Why don't I use sandstone for the slabs? That's a little strange. So another like very minor update is I've swapped all of the previous birch slabs that were here as the kind of like gradient between the sand with slabs of sandstone instead. I think what I might have done is, well, I saw oak or right here, and so maybe I switched to birch just because. Or maybe I did it because it matched. I don't know. Over here, I use slabs, obviously, because it's part of the pathway. This is part of the pathway, but that is part of the sand. I don't know why I did that. I honestly, yeah, I don't know. So let's get over to the entertainment district, where we'll be working on our project for today. Let's take a little stroll there. I won't fly there. Let's a little stroll. A little stroll. It's a very walkable city, you know. Walkable town. Yeah, I guess Driftwood Wharf would be more of a town than a city, or even like a village. Really, it's pretty small. Considering how much time I spend on these builds here, it really feels like it should be a mega base, but it's tiny. It's a tiny little thing. Hey guys. All right, so we're here back at the entertainment district. Hello. I have not changed anything that you could see in this view, but if we turn around this corner, I have changed just a little bit. I've started to block out what we'll be doing today. So, as we can see, I've now started to build up the lower deck of the dock here with the same wood that we've been working with here, just to kind of like sketch it out, just to see how we feel. And also with dirt, I've been sketching out what the boats will be looking like. Of course, this is a wharf, okay? This is a wharf. Wharfs have like piers and docks and ships and stuff. So we kind of need that to make that make sense. I know this probably should have been like the first thing you build here. You put boats by the coastline, and it's kind of like the last thing we're building. No, this is not the last thing we're building. We're building a lot more things, but this is definitely it's definitely getting towards the end. So on to my next point of what I would like to talk about today is you know, Fizzcraft has been open for season 1 has been open for about a year now, almost. It's coming up on a year. It'll be a year, I think, in July, and it is now officially confirmed that season 1 will be ending on the anniversary of the opening. So with that being said, we need to finish our projects. And by we, I mean me. But we as in I'm bringing you along. Now that the intro is out of the way, let's talk about the plan. The last time I put it on the back burner, but we will be building all the stands and the little shop that will be going here. I think the restaurant, the fish and chips restaurant that I wanted to go here might be smaller than I originally intended, because I realized that the boats are going to be really close to it, and that it might crash into each other. Oops. It might not have enough room for the size that I was expecting. I think what we'll do though is we'll start off with the little stands over there. That's gonna be like for desserts, like ice cream, maybe like a little fruit stand kind of thing. And then we're gonna have like an empty space right here, and then the fish and chips restaurant. This would then lead on to the actual like pier where the boats would be parked at. I think logistically this is very, very crowded for a pier. If each of these are like a boat, like the length and the width of a boat, this is this is like horribly crowded. But it's Minecraft. They're not going to be moving anyway. It's fine. So over here, we will have a very big project at some point in the future. Hopefully episode 14. I'm not 100% sure, but hopefully episode 14. But underneath here, on the lower level, we have plans for things like a clam chowder shop. And then over here, maybe like fishing. And for this ravine, I've thought long and hard about like what we will do for this ravine. I actually have decided that we're gonna cover it up. I had this whole idea of we'll do X, Y, and Z with it, and you know, we'll do all this like kind of things for it. I think I'm actually gonna cover it up because I'm giving myself a lot of things to do, and I kind of need to refuse to do some things in this area, you know? Like it's it's a little too, I'm giving myself a lot of stuff. But once we cover this up, then we will be able to extend and wrap this upper level around. That side of the upper level will be reserved for the big project. The main focus for today will be the boats and the main pier that we see right here. I'm actually not sure what wood type that this is going to be. Is it also going to be spruce? I don't really know. I think I might change the wood type for right here. Might be bamboo. Maybe bamboo and then into acacia for this. Might be nice. We'll see. And with that, let's get started. So the first thing I think about while I'm building this ice cream stand is the flavors. The first thing that goes to my mind is, what will I use for the ice cream flavors? You know, there's a lot of different items in Minecraft that could like pretend be flavors. We have our pretend taffy flavors, our pretend fudge flavors, but what could be pretend ice cream flavors, you may ask? So I've chosen the most circular items that could be pretend flavors. We have the slime ball, the snowball, magma cream, fire charge, and our pearl. And it's circular enough pop course. I could have gone for a regular course fruit, but I think popped course looked a bit more ice cream-y. So we don't have our typical strawberry, chocolate, vanilla. Maybe we'll do something a little more unique. Some of my personal favorite flavors. We have pandan, ube, mango, and I'm a big fan of like coffee flavors, so I went for like a double mocha and just like a vanilla with a Driftwood Wharf twist of sea salt. So let's go down and check it out. So right down this way, taking these stairs, we see our little guy Gelato. Hey little guy, how's it going? I've even stocked the extra in here as well. Pottery sherds for the breeze and the flow kind of look like a cone and maybe like an ice cream on top. This seemed like it fit better than a banner. Yeah, little guy. You may be wondering like, why is he so short? It's because I put half slabs here, and the reason for that is, well, I don't want him run around making snow layers everywhere. I love snow biomes, but I really hate snow layers. So he's trapped in there. So right next to the ice cream shop and in front of the pub, we'll have a fish and chips restaurant. This is starting to feel very British, but that's not where I'm going with this. The first thing I think about when starting off this fish and chip shop is how closed in I want it to be, and also kind of like how shop-like or how like stall-like or even like restaurant-like. You know, we have a closed-in building like the Fisherman's House or the upper level of Poet Post or even Driftwood Pub that's completely closed in. When it comes to this coastal town, I like to think that about like 10 out of the 12 months of the year, I would imagine that the weather is pretty fair. I feel like Driftwood Wharf would lean on the colder side a little bit You know what I mean? The next thing I'm thinking about is the size of the stall. So I don't want it to perfectly align with the driftwood pub because I do want that pub to still be visible from the sea. I don't want it too small, obviously, because I'm going to have a lot of things like make-believe chairs and tables and the kind of like furniture items that take up a lot of space and you want to be able to walk around them. I create kind of like a very, very petite kitchen side, and the rest is seating area. The roof is made of cloth canopy that kind of just rolls over, and the kitchen side is made of something more permanent, like an actual wooden structure. And of course, in my usual style, I decorate the outside and the inside completely with all the little things you could possibly decorate with. I didn't realize that the interior of item frames have the same orange as acacia wood. And a last little touch, I add a bit of smoke coming out from the smoker on the side of the kitchen. This is one thing that I wish I put more around the area. I think the only other place I put this is the fisherman's house. But I think that's fitting. You know, this is actually a chimney in use. Hello and welcome to Fish and Chips. Of course, some of the stuff is still oxidizing. I'm waiting for that to fully oxidize. A few other details I want to fix up, like I want to fix up the pillars underneath. But I think that's a later project. For now, let's admire the interior we have here. Here at Fish and Chips, you can order anything from fish, chips, and kelp, of course. I don't know what that guy's eating, but looks appetizing. The lower level of the dock is coming around quite nicely, I like to think. And we'll be leaving this space empty for now. I might put something like shipments or like barrels or something to just like speckle the space. But for the most part, I want this mostly open. Now, we are to move on to the rest of the dock. We still have the clam chowder shop and also the fishing area over there that I want to figure out, but I kind of already have an idea of what I want those to be. So I actually want to tackle the thing that I still have no idea I want it to be. This thing right here. You know, I could say, yes, we could just extend the spruce out this direction, but I actually think I should use a different wood type for this middle part. You know what I mean? So again, imagine that these are boats that are roughly that size, right? So this boat right here is about 7 by 14. 7 across, 14 long. It doesn't look that way, but it is, if you actually count the blocks out. And so roughly, if we have roughly the same style-ish, where we have, you know, small fishing boats kind of scattered about. Maybe some of them maybe a little bit smaller. Like I think I'm gonna have this one be a little bit smaller. Those I feel like I can change the design of as I go through. Whereas this one is gonna have to be like a more sure set in stone kind of design. Where we have the main pier and then we have like these kind of like offshoot pathways. I think I need to figure this out first. I just don't know what. I don't know what. There's nothing in my head. What I do when I don't really have a vision or, you know, maybe I'm missing a part to an idea is I like to just throw down whatever materials I have, whatever shapes, whatever colors, whatever blocks, and I just like look at it in the space that I have. So in this case, I try out the bamboo, I try out jungle, I try out acacia, and I also try out dark prismarine. And what this combination kind of reminds me of is at Post, we already have jungle, dark prismarine, and acacia. It's organized a bit differently in the lower section. I don't really have acacia mixing in as much with the dark prismarine and jungle. It's more like framing it. And I think that actually is something that I can reflect over again and kind of repeat with this main pier, right? I could have acacia framing the section where we have segments of jungle and dark prismarine. Another addition that I've made is I've added mud bricks along the sides to kind of act like a railing, and these are player heads to give a bit of a visual interest to what the railing would be. And I've also added these ramps that go up and down. So I would imagine that the fishing boats are going to be pretty low, pretty shallow, I guess would be a better word than small, towards the water. And so I would imagine that there would need to be ramps that go a bit closer to the edge of the boat. And so with this, we have our main pier finished. Before we move on to the clam chowder shop and the fishing area that's over there, we're actually going to get started on the fishing boats. And to kick things off, I decided to recreate the same boat that we have here at the fisherman's house, block by block over at the pier. The reason for this is I felt that the building of brand new boats would be a little bit daunting, so I wanted a bit of a warm-up kind of build. And also, there was something particular that I wanted to change about this build as well. So this type of boat, editor me put up the name of this type of boat because I forget exactly what it was. But these are supposed to be like the floaties on the side, or like barrels. or like pieces of plastic filled with air. And originally I wanted it all to be lightning rods. That was the original design. However, lightning rods on hard mode will attract lightning bolts that hit 2 blocks, which would set this whole thing on fire, probably. And so I opted for chains instead. But I never really liked this design. I thought it looked a little weird. It looked a little strange. And so I decided to change up the design a little bit for the entertainment district. This next boat I have in mind is a little bit longer and has a mast. Something of a sailboat, I suppose. I'm going off of boats that I've seen in real life. Not so much a reference that I can find on the internet, because I feel like in real life I've seen a wider variety of not really like entirely handmade boats, but maybe like part of it is factory produced, but the rest of it has been modified to like fit a person's needs. And I feel like that follows the flow of Driftwood Wharf a lot better. And so here we have a long boat that has a mast. And of course, since this is docked, the sail would not be, unfurled. It would be rolled up. And I also decided to make the sail slanted a bit as well. I think one of my sketches for this area actually had a mast at a slant. If I do have a sketch of that, I'll put that up on screen. Just for a time reference, each of these boats are taking roughly like 2 hours to make because I'm doing a lot of experimentation, and I'm doing a lot of like fiddling in my inventory and a lot of just like staring at it in hopes that it'll build itself. That's kind of like an unfortunate reality for me as a builder. I am very slow. So for the second boat, I decided to make it roughly the same size and shape, with some slight modifications. I had a few block differences. And for the mast, I decided to have it be the kind of sail that like folds down inwards as well. I've seen ones where it's not a bar that goes across where the sail furls up to, but it has like a hinge that has the mast sails collapse into the main. I don't know boat names. I don't know boat words. I could probably easily look this up, but I feel like that would spoil the mystery that goes on in my head. I feel like having a mystery of things allows me to abstractify objects into Minecraft. I don't know where I'm going with this point. But regardless, we have another boat created. This one's made out of jungle wood, and it's more or less the exact same copy as the one next to it, with a few blocks in difference. So by this time, I've made 3 boats, and I want to say, like 4 hours have passed. And, as a content creator, you don't really want to spend 4 hours making 3 small structures. But that's kind of the reality of it is right now. It's very exhausting. So for the 4th boat, I go back to the first boat that we made, and I remember that sometimes this type of boat has just a float on one side. But for this one, I make it roughly the same shape as the boat number 2 and number 3, but I make it shorter and a little bit slimmer, I think by only 1 block. So if we're thinking about what is powering these boats, which, I mean, it's Minecraft, so these aren't going to move anywhere, but if we were to imagine, like, what would be powering these boats, we have 2 sailboats, which would be powered by wind, and then we have 1 smaller boat. This one will probably be powered by paddle. I thought to myself, you know what? How about like something that's very small and like a very small speedboat? I construct together a small little speedboat. This time I make it out of oxidized copper because the other boats were all made of wood. And yeah, I think it came out pretty good. It almost looks like a little steamboat, but I think steamboats have to be bigger. So this is kind of like a pretend steamboat, but it's actually just like a gas-powered boat. Like a really tiny one. To just talk about these guys a little bit more before we move on to the next section. This is probably a boat that is wind powered, but also has a supplementary gas engine. I've seen those pretty often on fishing boats, where they'll only use the gas engine when you're parking the boat or docking the boat, so that you can have like a more exact positioning. But when you're out in the ocean, you just like take the sails down and coast. That's kind of like the idea I was going for this one. This one, same thing. Except I kind of imagine this one maybe doesn't go out as far. Maybe has a smaller sail and no gas engine. This is probably, I would imagine that maybe this one also has paddles. And as you can see from the side, the how I got the leads to do this is I actually have a boat shoved right here and another boat shoved right here. And the way I did that is I used a magma block to sink the boats. Because when boats are like regular, like the regular Minecraft boats, not these ones. The regular Minecraft boats, when they're sunk, it makes them a little bit easier to position. They could still be leashed to fences as well, if that makes any sense. And of course, to solve the lighting issue we have here, we have this whatever the heck this is, lamp, for maybe night fishing. You know what? Actually, that kind of makes sense. Honestly, I think this is my favorite proportion for a boat. I think a boat makes most sense if it is small. It feels very spacey, but I also feel like kind of cozy. You know what I mean? Like it has a good depth to it that I couldn't quite capture with the other ones. And for the little speedboat, I think like the idea gets across, right? It's something small, maybe one or two, possibly. If you're really small, you can fit a buddy in here as well. But wait, we still have all these boats to build. But first, we actually have to go head over to Denny's because there's a grand opening. Hopefully it won't be as crazy as the last time we were there. Oh my god, it's Jelly! Hi Jelly! You're deafened! You're deafened!
Oh my gosh.
Hello? There we go.
Hello! Hi Jelly!
Hello.
Jelly.
Hello.
Jelly.
Hello.
I would
What
like
do
a
you
grand.
I love your
salad.
outfit. Where do you
Thank
work?
you guys. Like everyone's ready. I'm ready to work.
Where do you work, Jelly?
Yes.
I work at the Minecraft Denny's.
Wait, I'll knock on your stream.
Oops.
I know.
Wait, I don't.
Oh.
I don't think.
Do I what?
You know what? I'll be overdressed too.
Do I what?
Let's go.
Huh?
I don't know if that's.
Okay.
Is that how
What
it
now?
works?
Who's saying? Who did what?
Jelly is overstimulated,
Oh, there you go,
guys.
sir.
I'm
Shared
overstimulated.
chat. There
I'm
we
excited. Okay. All right,
We're sharing chat
guys.
now.
Welcome to Minecraft Denny's. I hope everybody liked my commercial. I worked really hard on it.
It was so
Oh
good.
my god.
Mhm.
I love
Thank you.
Oh my god, is that Goodyear?
That is Goodyear. There he goes. The blimp.
Oh my god, just in time for the
Wow.
Denny's opening.
We do have a celebrity guest. I'm very excited.
Ooh.
Everybody, I'm very excited. All right, so keep your cool and don't forget to take a selfie. Okay, who's ready?
I'm so ready.
I'm ready.
Me.
Come on in. Come on in.
Oh
What?
She's here.
Table for one, please.
Table for one. Do you want a booth or a table?
Booth, please.
Booth. All right, right this
Who's
way.
online?
Really?
No.
Dang it.
All right.
That's not with
Manager,
gas on
you need to
specialist.
talk to
What?
Ashley. You need to talk to Ashley.
Jelly,
What?
there's a big.
Jelly, wait.
Guys, I
Jelly,
want you to know this
there's
is
a dumpster
actually what my
fire.
real life job is like. I'm stressed out.
But
Take
some marks off the health
You
inspector.
stole
Oh, why are you hitting me? Why are you hitting me?
What? Whoa!
Why are you hitting me?
Oh my god!
Hey, stop murdering! Stop murdering!
All right, everybody. Okay, listen.
I'm being
listen.
freaking murdered!
Everybody, find a seat. Find a seat.
Aggressive!
Everybody find a
I
seat.
already dropped it. What is your problem?
Here's how this is gonna go.
Oh,
Here's
God.
how this is gonna go. Everybody's gonna sit down. My employees are gonna do their job, and everyone's gonna have a nice grand slam. Is that clear? Right? No more murdering. No more punching.
Sir, yes, sir.
No 4 dozen eggs. All right. You get 2 because this is a restaurant. There's no Gaston special. I don't know who Gaston is.
Can I get you guys anything else today?
I can't do that with any other.
Can I get a gun
most other
to shoot
guys.
this guy?
Hey, I'm in the
Unfortunately, we do not
Gun?
provide those here. There's a Walmart down the street.
On console
Then I
craft,
have
it's like
the
fucking
9
zeros. You
mozzarella
suck.
sticks.
Ah, yes! I'm being attacked by the waiter! Help me! Help
Oh
me!
jeez. Oh my
Where's
god.
my tip? Where's my tip? Where's my tip?
Jeff.
I think the real Denny's were the friends we made along the way.
Me too.
What friends did we make?
Oh yeah.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Driftwood Wharf. Hope you all had a great time at the grand opening of Denny's. I apologize, the clips are a little short. When it comes to groups larger than 3, I tend to not talk as much. I don't know, like I feel like I have less to say if there's more people talking. But I had a great time nonetheless. And we're back here again at Driftwood Wharf, and we have all these to build. So let's get started. Please, I want to finish this. here we have it. 5 more boats added to the entertainment district. Or 6. Let's talk about it. So here we have another small kind of like speedboat with some steam coming out of the top, parked and waiting for a passenger to arrive. And then right here we have another single-sided editor me put the name of this one up again. And then we have a canoe, small, simple. It's even got some paddles on the sides of it. And this one right here is a smaller version of one of these, but another sailboat of some kind. I would imagine this one also would have a big oar with it as well. And then we have 2 of the larger, well, relatively larger sailboats. Oops, forgot about that. One moment. There's a lot of details to these that I just forget until later, and this kind of makes doing time lapses difficult because I don't finish builds all in one sitting. Sometimes I finish a build when I'm doing the narration afterward. So for these 2 larger sailboats, I've added a lead attached to a boat right underneath. This one I think came out a lot cleaner. So the method that I use, see, there's another mistake right there. Hold on. Everything else was waxed. How did I miss that? You know, pro tip, if you wax your signs, it actually reduces their lagginess, supposedly. Llama. Well, there's a llama. There's a llama. What? Hold on. Hold your horses, everybody. Pausing the show. See, the biggest issue with llamas is that I have a lot of hostile mobs as pets, and having llamas is not great around my other pets. So anyways, back to the show. So pro tip, if you wax your signs, you actually prevent them from making an area laggy, supposedly. That's that's not really a pro tip. That's more of just like hearsay that I've heard, but so a little pro tip about having leads attached to posts like this is you want to make sure that the lead doesn't cross over a chunk border, particularly if you're on a server. This is like a very like Java specific, I think, issue maybe. But when leads are across chunk borders, they can break on servers. So another example of this is I have some leads right there that break all the time. And it's just like so much maintenance just to keep this one decorative thing up. To keep this one decorative thing up and running, it's just so much maintenance. This one right here, I changed the position of this post specifically to avoid the chunk border. Originally, this post I think was like a little bit more this way. And I moved it more this way so it doesn't cross the chunk border. This one though, all the time, always breaks because it crosses the border. Pain in my tuchus, just for fashion, man. The things I do for decoration. Now that we have the pier perfectly populated with a lot of different boats, let's go ahead and get started on the other side of the walkway over here. So, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we're going to be covering up this section eventually. Not this episode, because we have a lot of stuff on the upper level to get to. Ooh, secrets. First, we can actually tackle these 2 side projects. We have the clam chowder stall and the fishing area over here. A little shop. A little cute shop. Let's get started. So to start off the final build, well, final 2 builds of today, I begin by laying out the floor, trying to figure out how big I actually want the shop to be, and kind of like thinking about what I want on the inside, what type of furnishings. For those who don't know, clam chowder, usually sold in either a cup, like a paper cup thing, or you could buy it in a sourdough bread bowl. So think like a round loaf of sourdough bread that's been gutted out and filled with clam chowder soup. And clam chowder is like a really chunky, creamy soup. Usually it's also got like potato in it. It's got clams, obviously. Sometimes it'll also have like a green onion and bacon as well. It's really good. Okay, anyways, beyond that's besides the point. I figured out the shape of the roof here. Of course, this is not going to be without the top deck. Eventually, I will add a walkway on the top, but that's for another episode. Very cute. I really like this. You know, I really felt myself like running out of steam while I was building this. I've been building a lot, but we're not quite done yet. We still have the viewing area / fishing spot. The last piece to our building marathon, or pier, wharf, whatever you want to call it, really, right? I think the proper term would be pier in this case. Yeah, I don't know. Someone will correct me, probably. I think pier is like where the ships actually dock at, but what's a dock then? I don't know. It doesn't matter. At this end, you'll find folks fishing and also viewing out in the ocean. Maybe they're dolphin watching. And here we have it. Simple and scenic end to today's marathon. Hope you all had a great time watching. I know I had a great time building. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye! Isn't it strange how all Minecrafters have a shared behavior of doing parkour while in VC with someone? You know, like you're chatting with someone on Discord or something, and you're just doing this in a circle.